sit and watch you, and you don't even see. Sometimes I want to say these words, burning inside me. Hey, we're back, and it's day 11 of our 14-day challenge, Your Story, Your Life, where you discover that the story you tell becomes the life that you live. Well, I hope yesterday the story of our little hot pepper girl resonated with you throughout your day. It is such a pure example of the fact that we are author and director of our life at any time and at any age. And I hope that you remember this story and use it for many years to come. So today, I want to address the real reason that you're here. The deepest reason that you, my friend, are here listening to this challenge. We talked about it in the beginning of our video relationship. And that was you're trying to solve 3 desires. One of 3 desires, maybe all 3. You want a greater sense of ownership. You crave fuller expression, or you seek deeper connection. Isn't that why you're here? Today, I'm going to start to address those questions because I respect the fact that you are an expert. You're a person who wants to craft your life. You're a person who wants a greater sense of mastery in your life. And you're always going to ask more of yourself. And so today, I'm going to ask you to give more of yourself in this video segment. It's probably going to be a little bit longer than the other segments, but I promise the information we cover is going to be dynamic and useful. So are you ready? Let's go. Okay, I'm going to start with the question that's probably been on the peripheral of your thinking for a couple days now. That question is, why is it that I sometimes choose a positive story versus a negative story? Now, many of you will notice that that question sounds somewhat reminiscent of motivation. But you're too discerning now. You can see that motivation is actually quite different. Motivation is actually at a higher level. It may ring in the same range, but motivation's higher. It's broader in its perspective. Motivation is somebody wants to get to B, and these are the choices they make on the way to that. But this question is deeper. This question, why do I flip positive or negative? That takes more examining. That takes an ability to go deeper and to see nuances and discern. So this was a question that was on my mind for decades, and I was trying to solve it because I got motivation a long time ago. But this deeper question required deeper research on my part. So I started first in psychology. Psychology is all about human behavior. It's a firm scientific foundation. And I began to look for the answer in there. And then I turned to energy medicine. Energy medicine, which is very similar, in my opinion, to physics. I love to use this discipline because when there's a need for me to go to a deeper level, a minute level, this will always give me tools where I can truly craft and understand. My third resource was wisdom literature. And when I was able to find a truth that rang, an answer, a truth that rang in all 3 disciplines, I knew that I had it. I knew that I had a framework, a tool that would help me, and I want to share that with you now. So the answer to the question, why do I sometimes choose a negative versus a positive story, is encapsulated in my framework called dimensions. Now, I chose this word dimensions because the definition of dimensions is essentially that it's when you look at anything and you see it has multiple facets. For example, if you were applying the word dimension in your life, you'd say your spouse or your best friend is a complex person with many aspects. If you were looking at your business, you'd say that your business has many, many different facets. And if you were looking into your closet and looking at your shoes and all your clothing, you'd say that your closet has many dimensions or many aspects as well. So that's what dimension means. Now, in this case, what we're using this for is to explain a deep hunger that every human being has. The way they have a hunger for a desire, a hunger for air or for food or for water. Organically occurring in human beings is this need to satisfy these 6 dimensions that I found in these 3 disciplines. And today I'm going to cover the 6 dimensions, just so you know what they are by word. And then today I'll cover the top 3. Tomorrow we'll go through the next 3. Okay, so you ready? The first dimension that every human being wants to satisfy the hunger that they want to make peace with is stability. Now that makes perfect sense. We all need a sense of safety. We all need a sense of predictability. The caveman craved that perhaps most of all because his environment was perhaps the most dangerous. So what you're going to look for in your life to see how this is playing out, this stability dimension is playing out in your life, is where am I telling stories about safety? Where am I telling stories about consistency? Where am I telling stories that are grounded? So for example, a stability story is any story that you tell in your family that's been told over and over and over. You're telling that because your family literally derives a sense of stability from telling that story. Another stability story would be, and some of these are more positive and some of them are more negative, of course, because that's what we're answering. Another example would be somebody who says, if my feet get cold, then I catch a cold. These are, stability stories. They're about you have an expectation and you expect it to be fulfilled in a certain way. A good stability story in business is anything where you are talking about, like that you trust data, or about the history of your story, the startup. You'll know the stability story because it feels safe to you. Whether it's more negative or more positive, it feels familiar. Familiar is a really good word. So part 1 of your homework, 3 parts tonight. Part 1 is to gently look through your stories and see, where am I telling stability stories? Where do I need that predictability, that certainty in my life? So let's go to the second dimension. The second dimension is adventure. Every human being desperately needs to have a sense of stimulation, to have the sense of being refreshed with new things, and to be a little bit on the edge, maybe even, a little scared once in a while. We all need that. And it can flip either positive or negative in any story. So examples of adventure stories are, any of your athletic stories, your sports stories, like somebody accomplishing some kind of great feat in terms of climbing a mountain or running a marathon, somebody who's gone fishing and pulled in a 250-pound tuna, those kinds of stories. But also adventure stories are about, having, courage and risk in business. And also sometimes gossip will fall under here. If it gives you a sense of adventure to be gossiping about somebody, that could fall under there too. You're going to have to use your discernment when you do your homework tonight. So your homework tonight, part 2, is go into your stories, go lightly, and consider what are the stories where you feel, it feels invigorating and it feels exciting. It doesn't matter so much as, is it more positive outcome or negative outcome, but look and see what they are so you can get the sense of what the dimension of adventure looks like in your life. And our third dimension is recognition. Every human being needs to be visible. They need to feel some level of importance. And it's it's so interesting, and to watch this one in particular, because people really use this one. Now, examples of that could be any place where somebody is using power for good or for, like more like a wrestling match, anywhere on the scale. And also, significance is about accomplishment, like saying that someone's accomplished in a certain area. Anytime someone has celebrity, these are kind of recognition stories. People who are looking for ways to get attention. These are recognition stories. So your work is to look into your life. This is the third homework piece. Look into your life and say, okay, how do I tell my recognition stories? How do I feel important? How do I feel visible? What am I using in my story? Now, at first, some of these might feel, new and uncomfortable. You're not used to looking at things this way. So consider it, just pretend you're playing and you're maybe painting, or maybe you're cooking, or maybe you're in your tool shed and you're creating something. So take your expert craftsman mastermind and just play with this. Play with it, be light, have fun with it, enjoy it. And in time, I promise you, you will be able to find the nuances of the stories that you're telling, which will give you the ability to craft the stories that you desire. So thank you for your wonderful focus today. We're going to do part 2 tomorrow. Enjoy the homework and be well.